Hi, everyone, and welcome to Working Together to Save Energy, Employee Engagement Strategies. Today, you can go to the next slide, and today we will talk to partners who are recipients of the Partner of the Year Award. Every year, EPA opens up application periods for these awards, and it actually just closed 2 days ago. So the time frame for these awards usually opens up around the summer, closes in late November, early December. So if you did not have the opportunity to take advantage of that period this year, make sure to keep an eye out for that next year. And there are several categories of awards, including excellence in energy management. Partners who receive this award are those that have leveraged Energy Star tools and resources successfully, have strong communication about their partnership with the program, and continue to be active in our partner community. So today we will hear from 3 speakers. I'll introduce them to you now. First up is Chris Goddard. Chris is the Regional Energy and Environmental Manager for Nissan's operations in the US and Canada. He is responsible for the manufacturing and non-manufacturing facilities' environmental compliance and energy reduction initiatives, as well as overseeing planning, forecasting, and measurement of performance improvements. Kyle Wilkes is the Director of Energy and Facility Maintenance for JCPenney. He has been with JCPenney for over 15 years. Over the past decade, using 15-minute interval data for electricity that is collected and analyzed on a daily basis, Kyle has successfully raised awareness of the cost impact of energy waste. This information is now routinely factored into the decisions that govern the daily operations and maintenance of each store. And Charlie Hoff is the President of New Energy Technology. He has spent nearly 3 decades pioneering software applications that support both energy accounting and the analysis of 15-minute interval data. The software is designed to provide people with the right information at the right time, leading to informed decisions that achieve better results and successful outcomes. So with that, I will hand it over to Chris.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Sam. Really appreciate the Energy Star team for inviting Nissan and giving us an opportunity to present today. Let's see. Do not see my deck.
1 second, I'll fix that for you. All right.
Okay, thank you. All right, so just a little bit of high-level overview for this shows Nissan's footprint in the U.S. So we have 3 large manufacturing sites. Currently today, I'm at the Smyrna plant in Smyrna, Tennessee, and then we have vehicle assembly plant in Canton and a powertrain plant in Decker, Tennessee, about an hour and a half from here. And we have our U.S. headquarters is in Franklin, Tennessee, and have responsibility for approximately 48 to 50 other non-manufacturing sites across the U.S. So currently, we're about to wrap up what we call our environmental midterm plan, and the most recent one is our Nissan Green Program 2022, or NGP 2022. This is our 4th midterm plan. It started in the late or early 2005. And primarily what we've been looking to accomplish, obviously we have a reduction of our resource dependency, which includes CO2, water, waste, and landfill reduction. So like many organizations and companies and attendees probably, similarly, earlier this year, Nissan globally announced their carbon neutrality goal for 2050. And been working really hard this latter part of this year, each region putting together our strategy and roadmap for how we're going to achieve this carbon neutral target of 2050. Similarly, shortly after that announcement, Nissan announced what we are referring to as Nissan EV 360. which includes renewable electricity microgrids. We have plans to expand this activity in the U.S. and Japan as well. Shortly followed that, we made another big announcement of our Nissan joining the Race to Zero. Along with that, we joined the Science-Based Targets Initiative and the Business Ambition for 1.5 degrees C campaign. So just give in reflection, putting this package together, I realized I probably should put a timeline in this, but I wanted to, I think it's important to give a little bit of background and history of our energy management program. So Nissan formally formalized our energy program in the U.S. around 2006. We became an Energy Star partner that same year, and spent the next year or so building the team. And then in 2008, 2009, with the recession, our operations across all the manufacturing sites started backing down. In some cases, we went from 2-shift operation to 1-shift operation. So the focus was really on how do we not use energy when we're not making products. So if we're not making vehicles, then get as much stuff turned off as we could. And we got really good at that. We made lots of improvements that supported our targets and goals by getting things turned off. Then fast forward to 2011, 12, and then through 16, 17, we couldn't make enough cars and trucks. So we were running now 3-shift operation, in some cases 6 and 7 days a week. And so the focus really shifted to efficiency, of putting in new equipment, more efficient equipment. We built a new paint plant. And so then fast forward to some supply chain issues and COVID, and production slowed down. Well, now we're back into a situation where we're reducing shifts and back to those opportunities of turning stuff off when we're not making product. And you would think it would be as simple as saying, hey, let's go back to the way we did things 5, 6, 7 years ago. You got a lot of employees that are no longer with the company or have moved on to different things and attrition. So we had to re-educate the entire employee base on the importance of turning things off. So with that being said, I just wanted to set the stage for this. We launched what we refer to as a behavior-based energy management program. And so in preparing for that, we always refer to this bell curve. You've got, there's a portion on the left-hand side that it doesn't matter what you do, unless you're handing somebody a check, they're not going to turn anything off. And then you've got the people on the far right side of the graph, that they're the people that want to make a difference. So how can you empower those people to take action? And then really let's focus on the people in the middle that, maybe they'll save some energy if they're encouraged. So giving them ideas and actionable items was what we were targeting. So with that, we launched a communications campaign that we called Save at Home, Save at Work. And really the focus on this, and I'll show some examples here in a minute, is that we want to really focus on what could you do at home, and then how can you apply that at work, or vice versa. So what we did, we created an introductory video that was that our senior vice president for the U.S. operations did the kickoff for the first part of the video, and then we handed it over to actually an employee that was part of our supply chain group, and she did a really great job in the video. Came across very passionate, and then after that kickoff video, then we had monthly series of monthly slides on what we call NTV, is Nissan TV, so our internal TV network. We also have newsletter publications that we call TWAN, which is This Week at Nissan, that it comes in the email format. It also is in versions that they can print out and put in the break areas out on the shop floor. And then we also have the email communications, and then a phone application was actually developed that I'll share briefly here in a moment. So this slide just shows where we had the soft launch with the video. Actually, that photograph is one of the work areas that one of our team members took a picture while the video was airing. People gathered around the TV. The item on the left is one of the blurbs from This Week at Nissan, and this is where we encourage people to sign up using the Energy Star home energy yardstick to kind of gauge where they stood in their home, and then communications about following the video that we had with our SVP. So the next several slides, these are just going to be examples of the types of ideas and things that we communicated with the teams. So these were the graphics that were on NTV, and then we would also have these in the other communication forms that I mentioned. So how's your performance? You know, what if you were paying the bill? Would you leave this stuff on? Next, another examples. The one on the left is you know, the old cliche. You wouldn't leave the front door open at your house. Why are you leaving all the dock doors open? And then the one on the right, where we relate a leaking water faucet at your home with compressed air leaks. And then this last example here is just basically, what have you done soliciting ideas for saving energy at home at work? And it may be a little bit tough to see, but that chart on the bottom left, yellow up is bad, down is good. And you can see we were not meeting our targets prior to launching this campaign. And shortly after we launched this communications campaign, you can see where basically the table was turned and we started meeting targets. So I started really seeing a difference, a tangible difference in our performance. So another thing I wanted to share in terms of methods, so we've got a phone application that is referred to as driver seat. And initially, the driver seat app was primarily just going to be to provide plant news and updates, safety and scheduling. Of course, but when COVID impacted our operations, followed by the current chip crisis that we're seeing from a supply chain piece, this phone application from the employee basis really took off. And we've been lucky to be able to communicate some of our messaging through this driver seat app. And then more recently, with the success of Save at Home, Save at Work, we launched a second round of our behavior-based messaging called Flip the Switch. And this just shows the snapshot in the middle is our senior energy engineer in Canton, Brett Rasmussen. He shot the video. Then to the right of that is actually a screenshot from the driver's seat app. And this has been very successful as well, just letting people know that, you know, in a big factory like these assembly plants, sometimes it's difficult to even know where your switch is to turn the lights off, for example, and this communicated some effective methods to successfully do that. So this is just another example of communicating with and recognizing our employees. So I think this one was actually from a Facebook Facebook posting where we recognized Brett for his work in Canton. Just wanted to give, this is another example of an NTV slide where we try to communicate with the shop floor and the admin areas of what they can do when we're shut down. Historically, this has primarily been used for our maintenance periods of shutdown in the summertime and during our winter shutdown. But unfortunately, with the supply chain issues, and we've had a lot more unplanned times where we're down. So this is communicating what the opportunities are during those periods are even more important than ever now. And then last, I just wanted to share some of the tools that we've got available to our employees. We now have dashboards that show how we're performing to our KPIs, and this information is easily available to all employees. And then we also have in key locations, we'll have monitors that share this information. So that's all I've got prepared. I guess next I will pass control over to Charlie. So thank you very much.
Right. Hey everybody, this is Charlie Hopt, Kyle Wilkes. We get to share our passion, a long time with Energy Star and a wonderful story. So thanks for the opportunity, everyone. Kyle, you want to say anything before we get rolling?
No, definitely want to thank Energy Star for the opportunity, and we're really happy to share the story with you guys today.
Amen. So we have 4 chapters to this story with Energy Star. We're going to start off by talking about the commitment and performance with Energy Star and JCPenney literally over 3 decades. And then we're going to shift and talk about the promotion and the education of educating future leaders with Energy Star. We think that's the key to the future for all of us. And then the 3rd chapter, we're going to talk about the first and second energy strategy over 11 years. And then we're going to close with this year, 2021, the year of our people and an unbelievable performance. So starting off, back in the early 90s, before my time and Kyle's time, JCPenney was participating with the EPA and the predecessor of Energy Star, the Green Lights program. So on the left is one of their brochures at the time with JCPenney circled down in the lower left-hand corner. And then in 2004, before Energy Star had any ratings for retailers, JCPenney was actively participating in what was known as Monthly Utility Mania, MUM program, and they tailored it around March Utility Mania, or March, not Utility, Basketball Mania. And it was a pretty exciting conservation awareness program. That was in 2004. Since that journey, JCPenney won its first Energy Star Partner of the Year in 2007. And we are all proud to say that we have, following 2007, we have 14 consecutive years added to that. So there's been 15 Partner of the Year wins, and we've been at this a long time. If we go back to the beginning of the first energy strategy and the data that was available in Portfolio Manager of a base year of 2008 for JCPenney, the KBTU per square foot was 61.2. This is weather normalized. Today, for the current year, it's 35.5. That's a reduction per square foot of 25.7, which is a 42% reduction over this 13-year period of time. And if JCPenney was running its stores today at the 2008 level, they would have paid $60 million more this year alone for their energy. And this is comparing 623 stores that represent 75 million square feet. And lots of greenhouse gas Emissions have been reduced all the way down to over 6 million trees. It's quite a performance. The story has been a story of innovation and evolution. And early on, it was about empowering everyone that we possibly could in the organization. And this is an example of how we had created a program called EMAP, Energy Management Awareness Program, and a website that we had created, which was the billboard that would feature various monthly themes. And in this particular one, this was when we were touting what was happening with a 9-time winner and what to do that month with Energy Star and various success stories. And this is with JCPenney having at the time over 1,000 stores. With that, along this journey, various people have come and gone. A wonderful gal by the name of Kim Stargell. She was the senior energy manager under Kyle. And over in the right is a picture of her holding up the award for their 9th Partner of the Year for Sustained Excellence at the award ceremony. And over on the left is her where she was featured in partnership with Energy Star on a video that was promoting Energy Star to the outside world. We call it external communication. Dialing it back a little bit, it was 2009 that with JCPenney's partnership, we started working with kids in schools. And I want to bring your attention to 2 young ladies. This one in the front named Fiona, who's holding a plaque, and this is Tavia. And these 2 young ladies went to Carbondale Middle School. Heather Snyder is the general manager in the back, and this is them celebrating with Heather because they were helping Heather manage energy at her store and learning. And they were celebrating the 100th JCPenney store to become Energy Star certified, and that was in Glenwood Springs. And the picture down to the lower right features a big poster that had Heather and the girls and Kyle and Kim sitting with Alexandra and a couple other people at the awards banquet where we would put on a little show and tell of the accomplishments that were taking place for the students every year. As the students, we started in 2009 and it has never stopped. So here's a picture in 2011, and you'll notice Tavia and Fiona again, a little bit older, along with a lot of other students, JCPenney, Gresham Barlow School District, New Energy Technology, everybody celebrating at the 2011 awards. And then in 2014, we were fortunate enough to have this young man right here in the middle, Alex Marquardt. And he was a senior at Kenton County School District in Kentucky, across the river from Cincinnati, working at a JCPenney store and needing an internship. So thanks to Alex, we started the very first Energy Captain internship with JCPenney's. We call it Advanced Energy Management, AEM Intern Program. And as you can see, Alex is surrounded by the superintendent, the school board president. Here's Kyle. Here's the vice president, Hank Dawson. Here's the senior vice president of Pennies. It was a great time. And Alex opened a new chapter for the growth of our program. So let's see if I can get to that. So 2006, we had some more students and we were all celebrating. And here is Fiona again and Tavia. And we were celebrating with that year, Gina McCarthy. She was the administrator of the EPA. And she called out these students in the middle of this big award ceremony, called them Energy Captains. It was exciting. And now Gina is the first climate advisor sitting on the president's cabinet. So she's got quite a say in where this sustainability effort is going for our country. I'd like to point out with Fiona and Tavia in this picture, they're no longer in middle school. Fiona went to Columbia University and Tavia went to Stanford. So it was exciting to work with such great young people. And then in this picture, next year, we had quite a group of young people surrounding Kyle and Kim. And this young lady, Joanne, she is a student in Bellevue, Washington. And she was one of the many energy captains that were working directly with the store managers, providing them real-time information on how their store was doing on a weekly basis. And it was super successful. A pilot with 75 students, super successful. And before I hand the baton over to Kyle to take us through the next slides, Kyle, would you like to comment on this program and its effect with your store managers?
Oh, absolutely. So I think in one of the early questions that we got, when we were putting these slides together was, how do you get, people that don't want to be engaged with the saving energy to be engaged? And I tell you, the student intern program is how you get people engaged. Our store managers would say no to me all the time. They're like, this guy, he's in the corporate, he doesn't understand what he's doing, he doesn't know how to operate our buildings efficiently. I know what I'm doing, I've been here for a while. The second we sent these students in, all they wanted to do was work with these students and make the students successful and make JCPenney successful. So it was incredible the engagement we got from that first round of interns there. Just amazing. Everybody complied with their request. Tons of energy reduced, tons of money saved.
And Kyle, I want to add one thing to that. As Kyle said, we sent the students in. This was all done remotely. These students, like Joanne, she's a student in Bellevue, Washington, working with a store manager in Riverside, California. We had students from North Carolina to Seattle and everywhere in between. Super successful program when you empower these young people with the right information. As Kyle said, they do a wonderful job in motivating adults to do things that they would tell other adults they're not going to do.
Absolutely. All right. Well, thank you very much, Charlie, for all those nice words about JCPenney. And Charlie's been a great partner over the years. He's been here the whole time. I've been here for 15 years, and I've known Charlie for 15 years. So it's been a great partnership here. So let's first talk about our different strategies here. So back in 2009, we released a strategy, our first energy strategy. It was reduce energy consumption by 20% by 2015. Then we succeeded in that, luckily, and then we had a second strategy. You always have to have a strategy out there. You got to have a goal. And so we set another goal. We said we're going to reduce by 15% by 2020. Kind of flip those numbers around because we thought 20% was really aggressive, and by going 15%, it'd be great. But this is kind of how we did it. You look at our chart here showing the plan. So renewable energy, no doubt about it. We're always looking for different things, solar, wind power, whatnot. Efficiency, as capital budgets allow, we're always doing retrofits, adding LEDs, replacing equipment with high efficiency equipment, end of life, anything we could do to reduce or make the building more efficient. And then conservation. This is really what we're going to talk about today, is our different conservation programs with our people. So it's what's really made the best impact and really the best bang for the buck of our effort here. And of course, we have procurement and then the data at the bottom here. So data, if we didn't have the data, we wouldn't be successful with our conservation efforts with our people. So one of the very first big conservation efforts that we did was we had this massive construction project back in 2012. And we were renovating every single store, adding different elements within it. And all this construction was happening overnight. So at the time, we were spending around $200 million in energy. And so if we opened turned on all the lights overnight, we could have spent another $100 million just that year during this construction project. And so we wanted to maintain that cost down and make sure that the stores, first of all, because the energy budget, how we kind of motivate the store managers, it's part of their bonus plan. It is part of their controllable expenses. If they would have all went over 50% on their budget that year, they would have all gone over and not got their bonus that year. So what we did is we created this construction schedule. So we had this module set up where it said, hey, when are you going to do your construction times? And we were very, very aggressive about allowing them and when we allowed them to do construction within the store. But we also gave a dollar value associated with that construction so we could pull that out of their bonus plan and everything and make sure everything was okay and they would get their bonus at the end of the year. But we built this out of necessity. We knew we had to control the cost. We knew we had to understand when they were doing the construction there. And then from what led from that is the creation of the store scheduler. You know, as we were going throughout time here, back in 2008 and in different programs here, I think Charlie mentioned our EMAP program, we have the scheduler program, and we have the AEM program. Those are all our big 3 people program. But the scheduler program really started from this construction program and from some of the results that we saw in the AEM program. So it's basically, we knew we had a giant opportunity in the stores because at the time we had over 1,000 stores and they were all operating on whatever hours they wanted to. So we created the store scheduler, and basically we didn't have the right technology to do it, but we made it work by phone calls and emails and everything, but most importantly, we had this great interface for the stores to go in and say, hey, this is when I want my hours to be, and it pushed it basically to our monitor center that changed the hours as they needed to. And what was great about it, if you look on the bottom right of this slide here, is every time they requested a change, we had an engine behind it that said, all right, do you really want to do this? Here is the cost associated with your permanent schedule change request. And we actually had a temporary schedule change request too, and we tell them how much that would cost. So this particular example, you know, they were requesting some different lighting and air conditioning on, and it was going to cost them additional $2,862. So what that did is it gave that store manager the power to say, oh, you know what, this is probably not the right decision. I should probably not, you know, make these extra expenses occur within my store. And I once had in addition to that, once the general manager approved it and accepted that, it actually went to the DM, their district manager, for approval. And then after it went to the DM, it came to me for approval. And there was one store in particular that approved a $150,000 change. They wanted to run their lights overnight. And that would actually double their energy budget. And so we, or I guess not double, it was about 50% more. So, but we were able to stop that and $150,000 savings just by, you know, recognizing what they're doing here. So we totally empowered the people here. We said, this is what your cost is going to be. This is what it's going to, you know, how it's going to impact your bottom line. And at the time, we had 250 stores in it that were actually EMS enabled that we could do this in. So really giving the power to the people because it's all based off of knowledge here. And then with this scheduler application too, let's go to the next slide here. There you go. We just, you know, it just started out here in 2012, if you look at this slide, and we just progressively were able to reduce energy consumption. As, you know, each one of those stores that were in that scheduler program, we would review, actually we would calculate how many of their runtime hours were. And then we would review all those runtime hours to say, all right, this store has the most opportunity. It looks like they're coming in at 2 a.m. Do they really need to come in at 2 a.m.? We look at the truck delivery schedule. Oh, the truck delivery is coming in at 2 a.m. It's okay. They could be there. Or the truck delivery wasn't, and they need to make a change. And throughout time here, I think at the end of this slide here in 2014, we finally got to a point where we dictated from the corporate level that, hey, you're going to be there at most 4 hours beforehand. And in the smaller stores, you could get there 3 hours beforehand. And it always, you know, it's just making it that building efficient or your operations efficient. You know, as Chris said earlier about Nissan, you know, when they were, they're not doing their work, you know, they want to shut everything off. This is basically the same thing. If we're not open to the public, we're not making any money. So we don't want to spend any money when we're not making money. So we're trying to get everything off as close as possible, or as much as possible, when the store is closed to the public. So now we've got that down in 2014. You know, we had it down to 4 hours prior to opening. And to me, even that seemed a lot. So, we were open from 10 to 9 at that time, and that's 11 hours a day. We spent 4 hours prepping the store to be open for 11 hours. So we'll touch back on that in a little bit here. So then let's talk about the Advanced Energy Management program here. So we're going to kind of go back to 2008 here and the start of this program. So this program really started with 10 locations in Puget Sound Energy. So it was their RCM program. We called it the AEM program. And but basically what it did is we went out to those locations and we installed IDR meters there, so interval data recorder meters. So again, the data is the key to all this driving your success here. So we looked at those 15-minute intervals data on these locations. We trained the store manager how to look at that and how to make good decisions to drive their energy costs down. So you could see here, just the initial start of the program, 2008, we reduced against the base year 11%, all the way to 26%, at the end of it. So, and if we were to do a deeper dive into those reductions, this is what's incredible. So 37% was by making the store more efficient with LED retrofits, more efficient chillers, different things like that. 63% of that came from cultural. It was all about when they're going to turn on the lights and when they're going to turn off the lights, and noticing when something was broken. Now, I remember back when this was started, we had an electric boiler in one of these locations that just ran overnight, and the store manager looked at that IDR graph and said, hey, why is this thing peaking out at night here? They didn't have a clue. So that equipment was broken. They were able to open a work order, get that equipment fixed, and avoid all that wasted energy. So moving on here, so we had those pilot stores in 2008. So then we went ahead and just kind of expanded that whole thing to almost every single store that we had available with IDR meters. So back in 2004, this is a representation of that. Your typical energy management program is all about equipment, design, controls, doing things differently to make your building more efficient. But once we unroll this whole AEM program to everything, to every location that we could, we noticed a 42% drop in, or I guess the savings that we got, the $35.9 million in avoided cost. 42% of that was because of that culture and behavior. Just again, simply making sure their lighting schedules were proper and identifying when something was broken. So this is all by empowering the store manager with that knowledge. So, and then the remainder, the 58%, was through your traditional kind of energy reduction things, the LEDs and demand control ventilation was done that year, and different items like that. And so now, from there to now, so we talk about our first goal we achieved. We actually achieved our second goal here, or got pretty close, 14.5% through that energy strategy. But what was really unique during this time period, if you look at our 2020 during the COVID shutdown, we had a drastic drop of energy, and we were shut down for 3 months during this period of time, and so you would expect that. But what you wouldn't expect exactly what we went through to make sure that we weren't spending any money while we were shut down. So again, we have all the IDR meters in the stores, so we are actively monitoring those. And when we saw equipment problems, something broken on, because the JCPenney stores, I should have mentioned this earlier, pretty much everything that we design in the store when it's engineered, everything is designed to break on so we could stay in business no matter if it's broken or not. And so when something breaks and it's left on, even through the automation system, then at night when the store closes down and they lock that door, the lights are on, the air conditioning's on, and they don't know. They expect the automation system to turn it off, when they scheduled it. So, but it doesn't. So we are actively monitoring that. And unfortunately, we had to furlough, almost all our associates during that time. And so we had no one to go into the store to actually fix this problem. So when we would see these giant energy uses, we would actually hire a locksmith to come out, unlock the door for us. We'd send the appropriate vendor inside to fix the problem, then we'd come back and they'd lock the door. So that's how aggressive we were about trying to save energy during that time. And then you move from COVID time to now. This is really a great story. So we have the AEM program. Right now we only have 623 stores. That actually in the reporting. We have 670 stores, but some of the data is just not good for some of those. But during the COVID time, we're at that 36.4 energy intensity there. And then this year today, we're at 35.5. And it's the why. How were we able to actually save more money this year than we did last year with the store shut down for 2 to 3 months there? So what we did is, again, we went back to the operations. How can we be more efficient with what we have? And we transitioned from that kind of 4-hour window prior to opening back in 2014, to a 1 hour. We became extremely efficient. We worked with all the different operators in the building. What are the tasks that have to be done before stores, counting cash to all those different things that we needed to do. What needs to be done before opening and what can be done while it's open to the public. And really got that down to 1 hour prior to opening. And this is the most aggressive we've ever been. During the holiday, I got to say, we did go back to about 2 hours prior to opening just so they'd have plenty of time to process their merchandise coming in at that peak wave of merchandise. But week 48 for us, week 48 is after Christmas. We're going back to the 1 hour. So, and the transition of that and the leadership buy-in of how it's going to be so impactful is really what saved this energy here. So when we initially did those calculations, it was in the $7 million range that we're going to save by going to that 1 hour window. And we've partnered with everything. I think I mentioned truck delivery schedules and everything. They've pushed back the truck delivery schedules so they're closer to that opening time now. So we open at 10 today, so store associates get there at 9. Truck delivery should be at 9 or later. And we actually got pushback from our logistics people on that and said, hey, we could be more efficient if we do deliveries a little bit earlier. There's less traffic on the road. It's going to take the drivers less time. And so comparing the savings associated with what we're doing in the buildings versus what they're doing on the logistics side, so it was so drastic on the building side, it was amazing. So we're sticking with our schedule right now, and we'll do further analysis to try to optimize the chain, but it was just such a big number that it was amazing. And then we go to this here, the AEM. So some important questions here. Who cares and who's driving the savings? So when we started this whole program, it was all about empowering the store manager. All right, we're going to give you the tools so you can do a better job of managing your building. And then as we transitioned and so many different things have happened throughout time to get to where we are today. And now we have a dedicated team, rather than training up the store associates and the store managers, we have a dedicated team to do the work for them. And so they go and they review all the IDR data. They review everything for the store. So the store doesn't have to do anything. It's a total turnkey solution driving the change. And we promote what we're doing to the store so they understand it. So we're saying, hey, we found this problem in your store. The lights are on overnight. We're going to come and fix it. We're going to save you $6,000 or whatever this month just because of that. So, and really the who's driving the change here, let's turn on to this right here. So the biggest thing, of course, we got the senior vice president, chief operating officer, everybody's concerned about money on this top care thing here. Now everybody on the bottom here is concerned about money as well, but more concerned about their energy consumption here. So what is great about JCPenney today is that our facilities maintenance budget and our energy budget are kind of one. And so as we spend more money fixing things and making sure that the building's operating correctly, we spend less money on energy. And we've really been able to leverage that with our maintenance personnel to say, hey, if you come in here and fix this thing, you know, the lights have been on for 24/7 for 2 weeks, you know, we're going to be able to have actually more money to fix more. So it incentivizes these guys because the facility guys are really passionate about fixing the stores and doing the best they can with what they have. So by giving them more money to do that, it really makes them happy. So, but the second thing is who's driving the savings here. So what we have in that system, so again, remember we started off training the store managers how to do all this work. And now we've taken that away from them because they have enough to do. In fact, there was a time back in 2015 that we did a study that said, how much do we communicate with the store managers? And unfortunately, my team, the facility maintenance and the energy team, were sending out 1.2 million emails to the stores to do the right thing. So that was absolutely overloading their inbox. And so, you know, by taking that away and actually doing all this stuff turnkey has really made a big difference for the stores, because now they can be freed up for what they need to do, and that's to sell the merchandise. So, but driving the savings. So first we got New Energy Technology in Charlotte. So they are monitoring those IDR meters in as many stores as we have. And they look at the daily and weekly and identify and quantify energy waste events, which is really key. So the data, you know, quantifying how much we're wasting, and then giving that information first to the controls team. So the EMS in most JCPenney stores, 100% of the energy loads are controlled by the energy management system. That's the lighting, that's the air conditioning. There's very, very few things that aren't controlled by the EMS system. You know, the computers that are plugged in aren't controlled by the energy management system, but we have followed Energy Star guidelines as far as reducing their power consumption when they are going to sleep or whatnot when they're not in use. So we find that problem, Net finds the problem, sends it over to our partners in the EMS controls. So Train, Tootin Labs, all these people get the notification, hey, we have an energy issue. Something is left on, something's stuck on. So they review everything, they review the trends. Oh, Charlie got something?
Yeah, I got to put you on the clock here, Kyle, otherwise Samantha's going to.
Okay, we're almost
probably about 8 minutes, so you're going to have to rifle through a few of the core slides.
All right, gotcha. We'll go through here real quick here. So EMS, you know, we'll go back to the Train and Tootin Labs. They're the ones who see these EMS calls. They try to fix it. If they can't fix it or they don't find anything wrong, we reach out to the store manager and says, hey, do you notice something coming or that's on at night, basically? Are you doing something in the store? Is there a behavior problem at the store? If they can't find it, then we send it out to our CBRE partners who does all the facility maintenance work. They go ahead and go roll a truck, and we fix the problem and reduce energy waste. Then we'll go look at this next thing here. So monitor and identify waste. So I think I just saw something pop up in the chart about who is monitoring unoccupied load. This is it right here. So New Energy Technology, through the IDR, we are monitoring unoccupied load. So we have that heating target BP base load. That's how much energy we know the store uses at best practice. And this chart, we're looking at all the different things and show that, let's look at the example here, store number 0237, if you guys could see that, using way too much energy overnight. So 113 kilowatts on Monday there. So we'll scroll through this. This is kind of a diagram of what that looks like. Here's the best practice base load. This is all the computers and heating and everything for this particular store. Of course, we have heat on at night so we don't freeze any pipes. And this blue line is where they were actually running. So with lots of energy waste, you could see during the night. So let's move on here. So they went and, let's see, here's another example here, EMS controls. This is the turnkey thing. Beaumont, Texas. So accent lights have been overridden. So this was 100% a EMS problem. So someone went into the EMS system and overrode the lights on. We caught that through the IDR, went back to the EMS people, they recognized it, and turned it off the next day. So pretty fast here. So, and then here we go. This is that same one here in Beaumont, Texas. You can see the waste overnight, and then we turned it off there. Moving on here, let's see here. So this is here. I'll go through this example really fast here. 2400 Tupelo, Mississippi. High energy waste here. So this is a lot of interaction between the store manager and the the AEM team, going back and forth, trying to determine what is driving that 35 kW load overnight. So here's kind of the load. You can see lots of energy waste, $16,000 a year if we let it go all year long. Keeping some more communications back and forth here. And then bam, on October 21st, we were able to eliminate that waste. So they figured out what was going on and got those lights off. So, and then as we talk about the AEM team, so this is all about data and trying to eliminate energy waste. So this is this year. So again, you know, we're always reassessing what we do. You can see the little Energy Star graph here to the left, and this is exactly what we do. We create a plan, implement action, evaluate progress, and recognize achievement, do it all over again. And so this is what we've gone right here. So we, through this AEM program, Advanced Energy Management, looking at all the energy waste in the stores, this year we've identified $4.9 million of energy waste and eliminated it. We'll scroll here. And this is kind of my favorite chart. It's a lot of stuff to look at here, but we don't only look at what the waste we eliminated. You can see that top chart there. So the bottom chart, this is the actual waste occurred. Something broke and we started using energy more than we wanted to. You can see the total is $760,000. So why do we look at this? What's important on that? Because it's all about time. How fast can we react? How fast can we eliminate these problems? So when we first started tracking time, it was taking us 120 days to fix these problems. So we're about at 60 days now. Of course, we'd like it at 15 days or 1 day, but you know, it takes time to roll a truck. So, but this is a wonderful success story of this AEM program, making sure that we're not wasting any energy, making sure everything is off at night, and even during the day, we're watching things and making sure it's operating properly. And then with that, Charlie, what's that?
I'd like to add one thing too, Kyle. I think it's important for 2020 versus 2021. You know, we're 2.5% less this year in energy than we were during COVID when we were shut down for 3 months. And I think it's important that everybody understands that during this year, how much capital did you have to invest in terms of hard measures versus the soft measures? Yeah,
so back in 2020, we did absolutely zero capital projects. You know, as you can imagine, stores were shut down. We were really not spending any money. So those capital projects that we would have done in 2020 would have benefited the 2021 numbers. And we did zero projects there. And then this year in 2021, we've done about 6 locations with LED lights, so very minimal. And we would have loved to do more, but we just had a supply chain issue, just like Nissan with the chips. We have the same kind of chip problem with the LED lights, and we weren't able to acquire enough to do any more retrofits for the stores.
So the key message is that we want everybody to hear is the exceptional performance this year is all people driven.
100%.
It's the teamwork that has made this dream work, and frankly, to both of us, shocked us at how well the performance has been. So yeah. Big kudos to all the parties, you know, from CBRE to Train, to Student Labs, to the store managers, to your personnel. Kyle, I mean, it's been everybody.
Absolutely. Big team effort to make this happen. So you definitely have to rely on your partners to do a lot of good stuff here.
Okay, I think that's it for us, Sam.
All right. Thank you all for your presentations. It was great to hear those stories, and I can just tell from the questions that we've been receiving that people were really engaged. So always happy to hear that. I will make 2 comments. One, if you have a question and haven't been able to enter it into the chat yet, please go ahead and do that now. We'll try to address as many as possible, but we will also follow up with folks after. So we do, I believe, have until 3:15 today to address things, but I understand that folks might have to jump at 3, but we will try to get through as many as we can. And then as you can see up on the screen, we have one final webinar for this year that is in this Learn from the Best series. That's coming up on the 13th, Mature Your Energy Program for the Decisive Decade. So you can check that out and register for that one as well. All right, so turning it over, we have some questions that came in for all panelists to address and some for specific presenters. I will address those accordingly, but also welcome if anyone has a comment at any time from our panelists, feel free to chime in.